Welcome to the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show, where you get advice you can trust. From home selling tips to investing, this is the talk show that will help you make the most money when selling your most valuable asset and save the most money when buying. Now here are your hosts, Dave McKay, along with Wally Kerr, broker and founder of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty in Oklahoma City.
Well, welcome to the show. I'm Dave McKay. With me, Wally and Cindy Kerr. And as they say in the race industry, down the stretch they come. It is almost Christmas.
Good morning,
right.
Dave. Yeah, we've had our Christmas coffee, a little peppermint coffee this morning, some pumpkin spice. We're definitely in the holidays, aren't we, Cindy?
Yeah, and one of our agents' wives brought pumpkin bread for us, too.
Nice.
She makes that
Boy, it's
every
good.
year, and
It
it's delicious.
Sure is.
That's fantastic. Well, let's dive head first. What are the topics for today? What are we going to discuss?
So, Dave, we're going to talk today a little bit about economists forecasting a housing market turnaround in 2024. We've got some good information along with what happened with the Fed this week and some economic data that came out. A lot happened this week, and so we'll talk a bit about that. We're going to talk about week 3 of clever tips when selling. If you're thinking about selling a home or you're selling now, definitely want to stay tuned for that.
Okay.
Got a funny segment today called How America Has Weird Mortgages. And this was from the New York Times this last week, and I read the article, and I thought, that's really, really good material. And then we're going to bump in a segment that we intended to hit last week, and I think you're going to realize this week, too. We didn't talk about what is an abstract and where the heck is mine anyway. And even if you...
100%. I have no clue, so.
And even if you know what an abstract is, we're going to give you some history on abstracting and Oklahoma. So I think that'll be a lot of fun.
I've heard the phrase, but wasn't sure. That's interesting. So I'm definitely going to learn something today, as we do every week on the show, which is brought to you by our friends Chris Doak at Gateway Mortgage and also Best Protect Roofing and Construction. Now, if you can't hang with us the whole hour, we will be back tomorrow at noon on Sundays is when we do a full replay of the show. And then, of course, we're on all the major podcast apps. You can download, listen to it while you're on the treadmill. And you can also go to wallytalkshouses.com where you'll find a summary of each show. You can scroll through and select all the topics that you would like to check out. We'll be right back with our funny story of the week. Stick around.
Looking for a cash offer for your home? If so, do you want to see just one offer, or would you prefer to receive multiple cash offers and you get to choose the one you want? IWantMultipleOffers.com is the place to go. And that's exactly what you'll get fast. You choose the closing date, no open houses, no strangers in your home, and no waiting to receive an offer. You can sell as is. Today we know that homeowners like you want options. Our cash offer program, where you receive multiple offers, not just one, allows you to do what you want to do. If the cash offers aren't quite as high as you want, you still have the option of placing your home for sale for only as long as you want. 1 week, 2 weeks, a month, you choose. And if it's not sold in that agreed period, you can take any one of the cash offers, including one from us. Visit IWantMultipleOffers.com. Get the options you want, or just give us a call today. Wally and Cindy Kerr at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty at 330-3000.
Best Protect Roofing and Construction has been serving the Oklahoma community since 2017 with trusted professionals and a proven track record. Best Protect Roofing and Construction has the local knowledge to ensure every roofing project is compliant and hassle-free. They offer free roof inspections to assess damage, provide accurate quotes, and recommend the best solution for your home. Call today, 405-473-9599. Best Protect Roofing and Construction.
Finding the right mortgage can be stressful, from knowing which program fits your situation the best to identifying the best terms. Hi, I'm Chris Doak with Gateway Mortgage. I work closely with you every step of the way, from pre-qualification to helping you choose the home loan that's right for you. My promise is to provide transparency, timely communication, personal service, and closings on time. Call me today at 405-253-2276. That's 405-253-2276.
NMLS 984758, Gateway Mortgage, a division of Gateway First Bank. NMLS 7233, Equal Housing Lender.
If you or a family member will be selling or buying a home and would like to schedule an appointment with Wally, call 405-330-3000 or go to wallysguarantee.com. Now back to the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show with Wally Kerr.
So we're back, and Cindy, I always love the funny story of the week. Now, you and Wally have been in real estate for more than half of your lives. So
Right.
we've
We
been
have.
in real estate for probably close to about 15 years then.
I love you.
Yeah.
Dave, we're not buying you anything for Christmas
Yeah.
anyway, so
Okay,
you don't have
okay.
to flatter
So
anybody
just to
today.
let people know, you do have a wealth of experience, about 35, 36 years
That's
of
correct.
experience
That's
in the
right.
Right.
business. So there's not someone that can really match the experience that you guys bring to the table. Now, I know that you guys have come across a lot of situations in the past through all of your years selling homes. So there's got to be some funny story in there. And you mentioned something about, I think it was called a Caravan, a home that was on Caravan. I don't know what that is or what you're talking about. Is this like a California thing or?
Well, years ago, before we had so many pictures on the internet and agents could just look at pictures of the inside of the homes, we would actually get something printed and it said, here are the new listings for the week. And we would actually physically go out in California and we would go in each home to see what was being listed so that we could match it up with buyers that we might have. These were already preset by the listing agents, so they were either unlocked or the sellers knew that we were coming. So we
Okay.
didn't need any advance permission to get in. So this was such a funny one. So, of course, no permission was needed. You could just walk in the front door. And my friends Barbie and Tina, who I sold real estate with there, walked in the front door and they saw some Asian people sitting at the kitchen table who apparently did not speak English. And Barbie and Tina said hello, and they proceeded to walk through the house, walked through the bedrooms, walked all around the house. Then they looked out in the backyard. And the property caravan sheet said there was a pool at this property.
Oh, no.
They looked in the backyard and they did not see a pool. And Barbie turned to Tina and said, we're in the wrong house, aren't we?
Oh, no. And they just kind of watched you guys walk in the house.
So they had to walk back out through the kitchen. Thank you to the Asian people who never spoke a word but just smiled.
That's tough.
And they
That's
left.
tough. What are you doing in my house?
They never said anything.
You know, how about them to keep their calm, though, and be cool and collected, to just sit there and, like, wait it out? Who are these people, and what are they going to do with us?
Well, I
they
think
were
that-
just so nice, and they just smiled, and Barbie and Tina left.
I think that's representative of the culture. Asian people are so nice.
Yes.
They're so kind. And so,
100%.
of course, they were confused and probably a little bit disturbed by the whole thing, but also very kind. And obviously, they didn't object, start
No,
throwing
but
things
those
at them.
famous words, there's no pool. We are in the wrong
Oh,
house.
my heart would just sink. Now, Wally, do they have this in Oklahoma? And if so, I'm a little nervous of people walking in the wrong house in Oklahoma.
Well, it's still, we just called it property tour. It was the same
Okay.
thing. You've climbed in, and typically they were just listings originally that were with your own agency, but then it became going and touring anything that a realtor put on the public property tour for the realtors to go see. I think it's still done today, Dave. It's just that fewer agents do that because you just go online and look at pictures now.
That is one of the funnier yet strange yet wildest stories.
It's going to go in our book when we retire.
Oh, 100%. 100%. That's crazy. Okay, so we are going to get into our next segment, which is House Talk with Wally and Cindy. But before we do so, we had a pretty important election this past week that I would say passed overwhelmingly, and that was the arena vote to continue the 1% or 1 cent sales tax in Oklahoma City to fund a new arena. Does that play any role into real estate? I know it probably does, but does that have any kind of
Maybe
connection or
increased
people-
value or
people-
anything.
The value of
Feel-
the city as a whole, I think it
Yes.
would, and people wanting to come to the city, so people moving to the city.
You know, that's a good question, and I want to keep it real neutral because I don't want to get anything politically, whether this was
Well,
right
sure,
or wrong.
sure.
Because we're in real estate, we like seeing our city grow and commerce and improvements. You know, I was a kid growing up in downtown Oklahoma City area, and as I went through my teens and my 20s, downtown Oklahoma City just wasn't a place you wanted to go. I think it's so cool. You know, you've got Scissortail Park now. The Omni Hotel is beautiful with great
Yes.
restaurants on the inside. So I think that that whether it makes a big difference in whether you're a sports fan or not. I love Thunder games. I've been to 3 this year.
Yes.
Got a buddy that's got great tickets. Thanks, Chris, for taking me to the games this year. And I'm looking to buy season tickets next year because I'm excited about the Thunder. You know, for instance, I've been an OU fan for a long time. because I graduated from the University of Oklahoma. Sure. And so when Bob Stoops was in Norman and winning, in real estate, I saw a lot of people wanting to move back to Norman because the Sooners were winning. And with Mike Gundy, he just had a great season at OSU. Probably has a lot of people wanting, now that they played for the Big 12 championship. Sure. Maybe that brings more people back to Stillwater. I have to believe that having a major league team like this can make a big difference for people wanting to come here. I think it's really cool to have a major
an NBA team, and you get to see some movie stars once in a while, too.
To see LeBron James standing in downtown Oklahoma City, I have a great amount of respect for that man. He did so much for Cleveland when he was back there, even though he's not there anymore. But to see some of these athletes come in, whether it's Jokic, from Denver, or you've got, because he's just a monster. He's 7 feet tall and about 480 pounds, I think, But to see LeBron in person is really cool. And part of that, and I don't want to sit and advocate for the Thunder too much, but I think it's neat to have those opportunities. We love the Bricktown area all year round. There's a lot of things to do. We enjoy our Christmas Eve there. It got voted in, and it was overwhelming. I didn't vote. Cindy didn't vote either. Did you vote, Dave?
I did not.
So none of the three of us voted, and that's the way the outcome came out. So I'm just going to say, rah. I'll go along with what people voted for. And I do think that it could bring some great commerce and a lot of excitement to Oklahoma City, and I'm all for that.
Maybe they might get a one of those deals like they did with the Paycom Center. It could be the Wally Dome.
Probably not. Probably not. I remember sitting at a football game years and years ago, and I told Cindy it'd be nice to have a little Kerr team placard up there on the scoreboard. And she said, "Do you have any idea?" She said, "How would you like to work for the university for about the next 40 years just to pay for
just
that?"
to have your name up there.
Okay, let's jump right into our first segment of House Talk. It sounds like the Fed made another big decision this week for the housing market. It sounds like a move that was in the right direction, and I understand that the Fed decided to keep its rate where it is for now, and perhaps the likelihood of lower rates in the future, which would be great, and a stronger housing market possibly for 2024. Is that correct?
Well, that's what happened. So on Wednesday of this week, the Fed did decide to keep its rate the same, and that's what they've done the last two meetings. So this was the third meeting in a row with no rise in the Fed's rate. They raised it 11 times, as we know, from March of 2022 until this week. And I don't think they're willing to say yet, this is what's going to happen, and we're not going to do any more raises in the rate. And I know that they're not going to give us any peek into when those rates will potentially be reduced. But I did see a poll earlier this week that said the economists that vote what's happening inside the economy and are polled for their opinion, 47% of them said that they believe we could see a decrease by maybe 25 basis points, maybe as early as March. Now, that's not going to have a big effect on interest rates. Let's look at what a few economists talked about this week. Okay. These are from pretty credible sources, Dave. Realtor.com economists predict that mortgage rates, which have declined actually over the past 5 weeks, will slide into the 6% territory in 2024.
That's
I think we kind of expect that, don't we, Cindy?
Yes.
We're wondering how low they could go. Fannie Mae, the government giant, expects mortgage rates to decline gradually over the next 2 years, reaching 6.9% for a 30-year mortgage by 2025. Now, that's a big speculation item there, saying that they believe that, say, a year and a half, 2 years out, that rates might be back closer to 7.
Sure.
Now, that might make a few people cringe that are listening today. But, Cindy, for most of our careers in real estate, we've seen rates hover on average around 6.5% for most of our career.
That's right. And in the times when it was high, I remember just being so excited that rates got into single digits, meaning 9%.
Right.
Wow.
So that was something worth celebrating. So it is kind of all relative.
So those are economists from Fannie Mae. And then First American is a big, huge real estate conglomerate. And their economists noted that mortgage rates will hover in the 6.5% to 7.5% range.
Okay.
That's real close to that 6.9. So it's good news for the market that recently saw mortgage rates climb as high as about 8%. But the dip won't be enough to entice existing homeowners with sub 5% mortgages. In other words, if you've got a 3 or a 3.5 or a 4 or a 4.25, it doesn't look like anytime anywhere in the near future, according to these economists, looking at least 2 years out, it's going to be tougher to get them back in the home buying market, Dave, and it's going to be harder to get them to move unless they absolutely have to.
You know, that's the key, unless they must. And life goes on. Families grow, people transfer.
Sure.
People have a need to move. So, yes, they'd like to hold on to those rates, but life will go on and life will present challenges that require that a person sell.
So probably no rates below 6%, what I'm hearing for probably the next year.
Everybody would like to see the interest rates that low, but it's just our economy's pretty healthy right now, and there's no reason for the Fed to drive those rates low. It's going to remain a challenge for affordability and supply, according to Realtor.com's chief economist. We don't think lots of homes are going to suddenly jump on the market, and there's still going to be an affordability challenge. But it does appear that buyers with good credit and good income can see the prospect of rates dropping into the sixes, and who knows? Maybe into 2024, maybe close to 6%, and that would be welcomed by everyone.
Well, that makes sense. And even if a house payment was $150 more at 6.75%, that would equate to that's close to about $1,800 if my math is right.
Sounds right.
And that's over 12 months of making payments. So isn't it reasonable to think that the average home would increase in value more than that $1,800 over the next 12 months? And you also get to write off that interest on your taxes for those payments you make, right?
Well, that's what Cindy and I were talking about is sure, don't really want to spend that extra $150 a month. But if you're a home buyer looking and you can afford to buy and you find the home you want to buy today, if you'd like it to be 6%, but it's 6.75%, I did just a little quick math, Dave. So I used it's really ironic that you chose $150 a month because I used a $300,000 loan amount and compared the payment at both 6% and at 6.75%, where rates are today, generally speaking, if you've got good credit and income and job history. And so you said $150 a month, Dave. The payment difference was $151 a month between 6 and 6.75.
Ding, 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 ding. I got it right without going over.
On a $300,000 loan.
Prices right.
Yeah, there you go.
do. That's right. And then spin the big wheel. So that's just the overall payment difference was only $1,812 in a year's time. But think about the increase in value, right, Cindy?
You know, that's right. If you think about just a 2% increase in value next year for a $300,000 home, that would be $6,000. And like we said a few minutes ago, most of your house payment on a 30-year mortgage is interest, and mortgage interest is typically deductible for homeowners.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It does. And there is a better selection of homes for sale today because there's been a seasonal decrease in home sales due to the time of the year. Isn't that correct? So it's still a good time to buy?
That's a great question. Yes, there are more homes for sale and fewer buyers in the market because of time of year.
Seasonality.
Yeah, but now these small decreases in interest rates over the last few weeks have actually led, Dave, to an uptick in sales. And I really don't expect now, Cindy, I don't expect that to decrease as far as the number of homes selling. I think the number of homes selling is going to increase, even though it's a slower time of year. Dave, the home inventory in the Oklahoma City MLS recently had hit 6,000 active residential listings. That's not a historic high.
No, but that's
kind of a medium
number, though, right?
But it's gone up a lot, right? We've talked about how January of 2022, I believe there were only about 4,300 homes on the market.
Okay.
So recently we hit 6,000, but Dave, just a few days ago, the number of homes on the market had slid down to about 5,900. And remember, the national media is going to latch onto this news. The Fed didn't raise rates. This allows the lenders to be a little bit more competitive. They're always thinking about, Dave, you go out and write a contract on a home today, and you're closing in 30, 40, 45 days.
Yes.
Probably. The lender's always looking and saying, what's that money going to cost me that Dave wants to borrow 45 days down the road? And if they're afraid that rates might go up, they're going to price the loan that way, and the interest rate is going to be higher. But in comparison, what we're hearing from the Fed is, looks like we've done a good job of cooling inflation. But I think it's important for our listeners to understand that just waiting, if all rates are going to do is, if it's on a $300,000 home, the difference between 6 and 6.75 is only $150 a month. If you think that's preventing you from getting into the market, right, Cindy, and buying a home, if you go buy a $300,000 home and it goes up 2% in value over the next year, you pointed out that's $6,000 in appreciation. Seems like if you can find the home you want today,
yes,
maybe you can get the seller to pay some closing costs. Seems like it's still a very, very good time to buy.
I would think that if you have everything in order and you're ready to pull the trigger, January could be a fantastic month. February could be a fantastic month as people are starting to think about selling their homes, but the other people really aren't into looking and buying yet because seasonality. So we could be coming up on a really good time for people to take advantage of buying homes.
That's right. Exactly.
You know, I'm a little afraid of the weather. It's been so nice up here into December, and so sometimes the weather can take a toll on that in January and February.
Mm-hmm. You know, let's talk about January, February, taking Cindy out to look at new property, and she can see where the snow is falling, where the horses are going to be, and her little barn and everything.
Careful, Dave. She's going to have an accident here.
Right. So we can romanticize about having this little winter wonderland that we can purchase in January and February.
That's right.
Okay, coming up next after the break, we're going to talk about something called an abstract. I don't have a clue what it is. Wally and Cindy are going to explain that coming up next.
Finding the right mortgage can be stressful, from knowing which program fits your situation the best to identifying the best terms. Hi, I'm Chris Doak with Gateway Mortgage. I work closely with you every step of the way, from pre-qualification to helping you choose the home loan that's right for you. My promise is to provide transparency, timely communication, personal service, and closings on time. Call me today at 405-253-2276. That's 405-253-2276.
NMLS 984758, Gateway Mortgage, a division of Gateway First Bank. NMLS 7233, Equal Housing Lender.
Best Protect Roofing and Construction has been serving the Oklahoma community since 2017 with trusted professionals and a proven track record. Best Protect Roofing and Construction has the local knowledge to ensure every roofing project is compliant and hassle-free. They offer free roof inspections to assess damage, provide accurate quotes, and recommend the best solution for your home. Call today, 405-473-9599. Best Protect Roofing and Construction.
The holidays are here. Does that mean no one's buying a home today? Not at all. In fact, many home buyers are checking websites daily, hoping that just the right home comes up for sale. And with interest rates at a higher level, fewer home sellers are willing to sell. If you're one of those homeowners that needs to sell now, it gives you a distinct advantage. We have hundreds of buyers searching our website each week, waiting for the perfect home to come available. And remember that someone who will buy and love your home will always pay more than an investor will. I'm Wally Kerr. Cindy and I are local experts in all areas of the Oklahoma City metro and offer to sell your home guaranteed at a price agreeable to you, or we'll buy it ourselves. Again, last year, our homes sold faster and for more money on average. But don't take my word for it. Check out what other people say about us at Google and Zillow. If you're ready to sell in the next 30 to 60 days, call us at 330-3000 before you list it to access our pool of ready buyers. Your home sold guaranteed realty. And ask for me when you call.
If you or a family member will be selling or buying a home and would like to schedule an appointment with Wally, call 405-330-3000 or go to wallysguarantee.com. Now back to the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show with Wally Kerr.
Well, Wally, before we jump into Wally's Weekly Wisdom, we skipped over a segment that we were going to hit. I believe last week we wanted to talk about this, but let's jump into this quickly. What is an abstract, and do I have one? Where is mine? Where could I find it?
You do have one, Dave. So it's really interesting. So only Oklahoma, Iowa, and certain areas within the Dakotas require abstracts and abstracting when a property sells.
So that's it. Just when we're talking about just about three
We
states
did not
that
have them
that?
in California.
No. Okay. So
They just write title insurance policies,
we had title
right, Cindy?
plants.
Yeah, that's right, Dave. An abstract of title or a property abstract, Dave, you own one. Okay, it's sitting in fireproof storage somewhere.
Okay.
It's a collection of legal documents that detail the history of a piece of land and then what's been built on it. But it's really just the land and any legal claims against it. And the abstract catalogs all the legal activities associated with the property, including like deeds and mortgages, litigations, tax sales, title transfers, and then things like encumbrances. So that's like mortgages.
So you guys are going to jump into this, but on a 50,000-foot view of this, I can imagine this being a headache for land developers that come in that want to build homes, because did they have to start chopping these up and filing abstracts for every little plot of land that they're selling?
So that's a great question. What they do is they make sure the land has clear title, and then they build abstracts from a base. They start with one abstract, and that's considered the base.
Okay.
An abstractor's work, Dave, is they go in and take this collection of documents that's bound together, typically in this gold, old-looking paper.
Okay.
And some abstracts are very thin, but some of them are very thick, and it actually goes all the way back to statehood. You went to the federal government and you went out and laid claim. Remember, they took that post and rode their horse and jumped off and stuck it in the ground and staked their claim. And I think they were allowed to stake their claim for 160 acres. And at that time, if you go get your abstract out of fireproof storage, now we're not advocating that you do that.
Okay.
Abstracts are expensive to rebuild. There's definitely a cost to that. I think if you lose an abstract or it burns up in like a house fire, it's about $700 to $1,000 to replace it. So this abstract is the history of the land that your house is probably sitting on. And if you look at the very first page, it's back to the days of William McKinley. And I looked up, I thought they were all, these tracts of land were given by William McKinley, but Benjamin Harrison was actually president at that time in 1889.
Wow, this goes really far back.
When the land run went on. And so the settler went and staked their claim. And you see this deed on your abstract. On your abstract you own, Dave, you go back and look, and you'll see a deed from the President of the United States deeding you 160 acres in Oklahoma.
It's a chain of title from that point, everything that's happened all the way to the present. So,
and that's what the abstractor does, right, Cindy?
That's
so
right.
Someone says, okay, I've got this abstract.
You just said an abstractor?
That's right. And a title abstractor is a professional who locates, analyzes, and evaluates title records for land, homes, and other property.
Documents get added to this abstract. A lot of the changes, Dave, are like changes in mineral rights. In a quarter section of land, 160-acre piece of land, anytime title changes for mineral rights, maybe a new subdivision goes in. Maybe it doesn't directly affect your property, but they're looking at what happens in that quarter section. They're recording documents that are pertinent to your ownership, whether it is changes in your HOA guidelines. Sometimes an HOA will start, and they'll go in and file amendments. And so these things get added. For instance, if my house went into foreclosure today, that would be added to the abstract. That's a legal document. So when a home sells, the abstract gets brought to date, and that's a search and a courthouse search and documents that get added to the abstract as part of the sale of a property.
Okay, so I love to yell Boomer Sooner at games and stuff. And I think, Cindy, you were going to allude to this. I know that the name Sooners for OU, of course, has something to do with the land run where people, it was a false start. They took off before the snap of the ball, and they went and took some of their land. But you actually said, I think, something about a boomer, and I'm not really sure what that is. So explain how that comes into play.
Well, boomers were people who lobbied for the lands to be open, and they raided into them illegally before passage of the Indian Appropriations Act of 1889. The Sooners were boomers who snuck into the region to scout and claim the prime quarter-mile tracts before the official noon opening on April 22nd, 1889. And I always see that vision of people on horses just galloping out into the land to stake their claim. Can you imagine if we were alive at that time?
I can tell you Cindy wishes she was there for that. She
I would have been on my horse galloping along.
Okay, so it's one thing to be a boomer, but when you just double down on the illegal activities, that's when you become a Sooner. Boy, and my friends that are Sooners are they're hating me for pointing this out. And my OSU fans are like, yeah, you guys are rotten.
So if the charge of early entry was proven, these Sooners would lose title to their claimed land, Dave.
So I guess that's the reason you didn't want to do it, right?
Yes.
You know, the Oklahoma history is fascinating. I grew up in California, as you know, and we studied everything about the gold rush. But since I've moved here, I have just been fascinated with Oklahoma history. I could see myself riding my horse out to stake my claim.
You know, and if people haven't looked at a map that maybe are younger that listen to our show, you look at a really old map, and Oklahoma just shows Indian Territory.
Yes.
That's how it's labeled on the map,
Yes,
right?
it is.
Indian Territory. So it's tough to go back through those years for Native Americans and how that all transpired and how that happened. And, of course, our government's tried to go back and fix that with Native American tribes. But there's an amazing amount of history that goes in that leads up to this thing we call abstracting. And where is my abstract, or what the heck is it, and where is it? And so, anyway, that's a little bit more about abstracts.
I think Oklahoma history is really fascinating. I'm a history buff, and all my friends are, except for Wally. We love to go to historical homes and tour them. We've been to the Harn Homestead on Lincoln in Oklahoma City. We've been to in Norman to the Moore Lindsay House. That's an 1889 Victorian. We've been to museums in Purcell and Noble, and we even went to the Murray Mansion in Lindsay, and that is a beautiful Victorian home owned by a man who was a Dutch immigrant, but he acquired the land because his wife was Choctaw Indian, and that's how they ended up with that. It was just fascinating. They have a tunnel that extends several hundred feet out from the house in case unfriendlies came by. They could escape through a tunnel. When I look at all these, I'm really reminded how tough life was back then. It's very interesting.
Well, Wally, let's get into week 3 of your Clever Tips series with Wally's Weekly Wisdom. You're going to be talking about clever tips. Now, these won't be abstract tips. They'll be more concise tips when selling and talking this week about things to do and not to do based on your home's interior. Tell me your recommendations.
So once again, Dave, they're important whether you're selling for the first time or maybe you're selling your third or fourth home. And there are often things you just don't think about until it's too late. So I'm going to start first and foremost this week to just say if you're on the market now or you're about to place your home for sale, don't date your pictures with holiday decor. How does it look if your home is on the market in February? Let's say you put it on the market this week or next week.
And there's a Christmas tree in the picture.
Buyers are looking online and they see your Christmas tree up. They probably figure you've been on the market for 60 days or so. And so the longer anything sits, the less it typically sells for. So
Should I take pictures of my home once a month? So if my home's on the market for 60 days, I can go, where are the February pictures? I had them in a folder.
And this applies to Halloween. This applies to Easter.
Yes.
This applies to any time of year that you're taking pictures. So you want to keep them neutral and not show off anything that's not going to help your home sell. Instead of painting kitchen cabinetry, which has gotten kind of expensive, we've seen some kitchens over the past few months, Dave, that you might spend $4,000 or $5,000 or $6,000 to take wood cabinets and paint those to white and get a really nice finish on the cabinets that's shiny with no drip marks and the right sheen. And so instead, consider adding a matching tile backsplash inside your kitchen if you have stained cabinetry for an updated look.
And that might be cheaper.
A lot cheaper.
Buyers want to smell fresh air when they tour your home. So you want to avoid too strong artificial scents like candles and fresheners, because I'll tell you what, they really make buyers think they're covering something up.
I would have thought the opposite. What about the chocolate chip cookies that are there for people to come through and have?
We've done that.
Sure.
We've done that.
I think our point is, for instance, we have 2 cats, and they're hybrids, and we know we've been in many homes over the years where perhaps there was some urine smell that got in the carpet or maybe on a wall, and it can be very common for people to get used to that. You want to watch strong smells that will turn buyers off.
That's right.
Cindy?
And not just cover them up.
Don't forget that pictures tend to show everything, Dave, whether it's brass hardware or, like we talked about, maybe it's pet dishes. Maybe it's a dog bowl.
Oh, yes.
Maybe it's a cat bowl.
Okay.
Maybe it's a cat litter box. So I've been in homes before where my customers had dogs that were 200 pounds in size, and they've got a dish that's a foot off the floor. Now, if you show that in a picture, someone's going to figure you've got a pretty big dog there.
A monster lives at that
Yeah,
house.
a pony.
So to increase the interest in your home, don't show these things. Same thing with colorful rooms. I don't know how many times we can say this, but nothing beats neutral.
That's right.
Right, Cindy?
First thing when Wally said, I think when we were selling our home, is I think he walked in the house and walked into my sports room, which was a lovely shade of crimson.
And he said, you need to paint it.
You're going to repaint that.
Well, do what the builders do. The builders can't afford to have houses just sitting on the market, so they typically go neutral.
Yes.
This one's a funny one. The number 9 can be your friend, but don't overuse it. So I'm going to give you a quick example. I would never price a home at $499, $999, and I've had customers ask me to do that. And my thought is, hey, we're not selling a car here.
Yes.
Let's not get into that. Let's keep it classy and either say $499.9 or say $500,000. Now, here's the argument, Dave, for pricing at $500 instead of $499.9.
People do tend to kind of shop in price ranges, and they may say, I want to look at everything under $500.
Or you could have someone coming from California, they can't believe how cheap homes are in Oklahoma, and they can't imagine what they can get here for even $500,000. So they start searching $500,000 to $700,000, and if you're priced at $499.9,
You're not even in
they
the
could miss your
conversation.
home. So
Yes.
in a lot of cases, we'll just cut that off. If you're searching $400,000 to $500,000 and your home is priced at $500,000, it gets caught. If you're searching $500,000 to $700,000 and your home's priced at $500,000,
Same thing.
but it doesn't mean that $199.9 doesn't sound cheaper than $200,000. So that's where the 9 can be your friend. Finally, when the market adjusts seasonally like it's done right now, our wisdom this week reminds you, don't leave room to negotiate. Price your home right so that it sells faster, because homes that sell faster typically sell for more money.
That is so true. You don't want to hit the market at the wrong price. You want to hit the market at a price where buyers are interested and want to see your home.
Rather have more activity than less activity, right?
If you do want an estimate on your home, just text Wally at 330-3000. Text him your address and basically what you think your home rates on a scale of 1 to 10.
That's right. We'll give just an estimated value range.
Okay.
So if you've got a home, text me the address to 330-3000. Tell me on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best, about the condition of your home in your own opinion. I'll shoot you back a price range, or a range of value, to give you an idea of what it would be worth. It is a changed market, but values are still very good here in Oklahoma. We have not really seen any downturn in values.
No.
And if there has been, it's been very, very small. And we expect that to come back in the spring and homes to start appreciating once again, just like they've done over the last 2 or 3 years.
All right, so we'll have Wally's Weekly Wisdom, another clever tip coming up next week. Now, coming up in 2 minutes, it's our listings of the week and open houses. Stick around.
Best Protect Roofing and Construction has been serving the Oklahoma community since 2017 with trusted professionals and a proven track record. Best Protect Roofing and Construction has the local knowledge to ensure every roofing project is compliant and hassle-free. They offer free roof inspections to assess damage, provide accurate quotes, and recommend the best solution for your home. Call today, 405-473-9599. Best Protect Roofing and Construction.
Finding the right mortgage can be stressful, from knowing which program fits your situation the best to identifying the best terms. Hi, I'm Chris Doak with Gateway Mortgage. I work closely with you every step of the way, from pre-qualification to helping you choose the home loan that's right for you. My promise is to provide transparency, timely communication, personal service, and closings on time. Call me today at 405-253-2276. That's 405-253-2276.
NMLS 984758. Gateway Mortgage, a division of Gateway First Bank. NMLS 7233. Equal housing lender.
Looking for a cash offer for your home? If so, do you want to see just one offer, or would you prefer to receive multiple cash offers? And you get to choose the one you want. IWantMultipleOffers.com is the place to go. And that's exactly what you'll get fast. You choose the closing date, no open houses, no strangers in your home, and no waiting to receive an offer. You can sell as is. Today we know that homeowners like you want options. Our cash offer program, where you receive multiple offers, not just one, allows you to do what you want to do. If the cash offers aren't quite as high as you want, you still have the option of placing your home for sale for only as long as you want. 1 week, 2 weeks, a month, you choose. And if it's not sold in that agreed period, you can take any one of the cash offers, including one from us. Visit IWantMultipleOffers.com. Get the options you want, or just give us a call today. Wally and Cindy Kerr at your home sold guaranteed realty at 330-3000.
If you or a family member will be selling or buying a home and would like to schedule an appointment with Wally, call 405-330-3000 or go to wallysguarantee.com. Now back to the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show with Wally Kerr.
Well, based on the good Fed news earlier in the show and the prospect for even better interest rates after this week's announcements, this is likely to pop a few more home buyers into the marketplace.
I agree.
Well, good for them. We're going to tell them about some homes available.
Got a couple of listings of the week we'll talk about quickly and a couple of open houses. First of all, on Sunday afternoon between just 1 and 2 p.m., I've got a home coming on the market in one of Moore's favorite gated neighborhoods called Joshua's Landing. About a 5,000 square foot home, I believe. A 4-bedroom with 2 studies on the inside, multiple living areas, a beautiful pool. It's on a nice acreage lot, a small acreage with a beautiful view from the water. This home is $975,000 in price, and we expect a lot of activity on this one because it's a really pretty home, isn't it, Cindy?
It is. I went through it with you, and I think that one's got 5 bathrooms.
This is a nice, big luxury home for
Big family
maybe a couple or a large family. Got a more affordable home in Yukon this week, Dave, just off the Kilpatrick Turnpike, where it begins to turn and go south, toward I-40.
Yes.
This is 14221 Athens Lane, and this is in Yukon. It's a smaller home, kind of a starter home, or maybe you want a small yard and not a whole lot of space to take care of, but you want to get into home ownership. This is around 1,160 square feet. It's $230,000. Frankly, it's perfect inside. It's only about 3 or 4 years old.
Oh, nice.
Now, that's open 2 to 4 p.m. on Sunday, and that's with Trinity on our team. And then Jennifer Wilcox and I will be at 3605 Joshua Lane in Moore. That one's 1 to 2 p.m. The one on Athens Lane in Yukon is open 2 to 4 p.m. on Sunday. Got a flip home opportunity. We talk about some expensive homes here on the show. How about a really affordable home in Noble, just south of Norman, 1,244 feet. This is a 2-bed, 2-bath with a carport and a storage shed. It's 308 North 2nd Street. This is priced at just $1,099.
Wow.
Pretty hard to find any home for that price today.
I didn't think there was a house for $1,099.
But that would be perfect for a college graduate, just to get in, do some upgrades, and man, they're like 25, 26, 27 years old, getting into home ownership as they're young.
That's our Gen Z. That's our Gen Z population we talked about last week. This is a good opportunity to buy a home, do some fix-ups, and have some equity. A couple of luxury homes I'd like to mention. Both of these are over 5,100 feet in size. At Gaillardia, got a price reduction about 3 weeks ago. This is a real sleeper. I can tell you it's priced right in Gaillardia in the Club Villas, which means you're behind not only the guard stand, but a second security gate. This is 14233 Calais Circle. It's a big home, 4 bedrooms, at least 4 bathrooms on the inside, 2 stories, big open floor plan downstairs, and an awesome kitchen. This is now $1,190,000 in price. And then this incredible home we've got down near the OU campus. It's a golf course lot near OU, just off of Highway 9. Okay. 2 acres. You back the golf course. You've got a pool. You've got a spa. That's all heated. Big floor plan with 5 bedrooms and 4.5 baths. Beautiful views out these really big, large windows. That home's all the way down to $895,000. Maybe you know someone moving in from out of state that's looking for a large home. I think we may have exhausted the local lookers, except for those whose maybe needs change. Maybe mom or dad is going to move in with you. Maybe you've got a family member moving in. Maybe you've got a young adult moving back home with you, and this home is perfect for that. Again, it's 1200 Southern Hills Circle and reduced to $895,000. Great home.
Mm-hmm. You did bring up a topic earlier, so let's go ahead and throw another segment of House Talk in today if we can. We've been talking about the Fed's decision this week and how it had a positive impact on mortgage rates, at least to some degree.
Right.
Now, you're going to bring us a topic today that hasn't been discussed on our show. You let me in just a little bit about this. You gave me a little heads up. And it has to do with the fact that 30-year mortgages that are available in the U.S. are unusual when compared to other parts of the world, I should say. So tell us more about that.
So, Dave, some of the content in this segment was seen recently in the New York Times and was titled, America Has Weird Mortgages. Okay. And I really thought it would be worth sharing today. First of all, we're all aware that sky-high prices and the number of listings are lower on the market by as much as 20%. And that hasn't affected those who are insulated from rising interest rates because their homes are worth more than ever and their housing costs are locked in place for the most part. And that's mostly due to a unique feature of our U.S. housing market called the 30-year fixed rate mortgage. And it's been so common for so long that it can be easy to forget how strange it is. Because the interest rate is fixed, homeowners get to freeze their monthly loan payments for as much as 3 decades, right? 30 years.
Yes.
Even if inflation picks up or interest rates rise. And because most U.S. mortgages can be paid off early with no penalty, homeowners can simply refinance if rates go down. So buyers are getting all the benefits of this fixed rate, really with none of the risk. That's what John Campbell, a Harvard economist who's argued that 30-year mortgages contribute to inequality, says. He says if inflation goes way up, the lenders lose and the borrowers win. Whereas if inflation goes down, the borrower just refinances.
So what I'm hearing is this kind of relates precisely to what we've seen happen over the last 18 months. Mortgage rates were lowered to, and you guys admitted, historic rates.
Absolutely.
People just went in and start buying up. So inflation hits. The Fed raises those rates, and they did it 10, 11, possibly 12 times. And the mortgage interest rates went up as high as about 8%, right?
We did see some rates a couple of months ago that were about 8% on conventional loans. You're right.
And now rates are closer to about 7%. Investors are locked into having to honor those 3 and 4% rates that they issued a few years back with no option or ability to move those mortgage rates up to current levels. I never thought of it that way because, like you said earlier, it's been so common for so long. How easy it is to forget how strange that is.
But such a great advantage for buyers.
And what happens if a home buyer locks and closes on a 7% rate today? You know, it's great for the lender, and they love that payment with the 7% interest rate. But if rates drop to 5% in the future, the borrower can simply refinance out, pay off the existing loan at 7% and start over with a new, lower rate. But, Dave, that's not how things work elsewhere in the world. For instance, in Britain and Canada, among other places, interest rates are generally fixed for only a few years. So that means the pain of higher rates is spread more evenly between buyers and existing owners of homes. So you can't just go in and lock in a 20-year rate, again, in Britain and Canada. For instance, in Germany, so fixed-rate mortgages are common, but borrowers can't easily refinance. So that means new buyers are dealing with higher borrowing costs, but so are longtime owners who bought when rates were higher. Denmark has a system comparable to the United States, but down payments are generally larger and lending standards are even more strict. So it's really only the U.S. that has such an extreme system of winners and losers in which new buyers face borrowing costs of, say, 7.5% today, while, say, 2/3 of existing mortgage holders are paying less than 4% because they bought or refinanced in recent history. So the result is we're living in a housing market that's frozen in place. There's fewer homes on the market historically, and fewer still at prices that buyers can afford. Sales of existing homes have fallen more than 15% over the last year to their lowest level in over a decade, and many millennials who were already struggling to break into the housing market are finding they have to wait yet longer to buy their first homes. Dave, as a wrap-up on this topic, the New York Times in this article called the 30-year mortgage a historical accident.
Okay.
Okay. Here's the story of the 30-year mortgage. It began in the Great Depression. So many people had mortgages, and at that time had terms of 10 years or less. And unlike mortgages today, they were not self-amortizing, which means that rather than gradually paying down the loan's principal along with the interest each month, when you make a payment, borrowers owed the principal in full at the end of the term. So if it was a 10-year mortgage, you got to the end of 10 years, it was basically a balloon. It's due and payable. So in practice, that meant the borrowers would have to take out a new mortgage to pay off the old one. Today, that's known as a mortgage with a balloon payment again, and it's a far shorter term and often applies with commercial property. And so there were something like 10% of mortgages in default because of the Great Depression. Literally, the 30-year mortgage was an accident that actually occurred, and the start of it was the Great Depression.
A lot of history buffs are going to love today's show. And if you got in late, make sure you go to WallyTalksHouses.com and listen to this show from start to finish, because we're covering some fantastic topics today. A lot of good content for me for the Christmas parties coming up. I'm going to sound like a 36-year vet in the real estate business.
Well, we've covered a lot of content over 45 or 50 shows, haven't we, Dave?
Yes, we have. I've got so much to share and talk about. It's fantastic. I know there's much more to come. We're going to be back in 2 minutes, and we'll wrap the show up. Stick around.
The holidays are here. Does that mean no one's buying a home today? Not at all. In fact, many home buyers are checking websites daily, hoping that just the right home comes up for sale. And with interest rates at a higher level, fewer home sellers are willing to sell. If you're one of those homeowners that needs to sell now, it gives you a distinct advantage. We have hundreds of buyers searching our website each week, waiting for the perfect home to come available. And remember that someone who will buy and love your home will always pay more than an investor will. I'm Wally Kerr. Cindy and I are local experts in all areas of the Oklahoma City metro and offer to sell your home guaranteed at a price agreeable to you, or we'll buy it ourselves. Again, last year, our homes sold faster and for more money on average. But don't take my word for it. Check out what other people say about us at Google and Zillow. If you're ready to sell in the next 30 to 60 days, call us at 330-3000 before you list it to access our pool of ready buyers. Your home sold guaranteed realty. And ask for me when you call.
Best Protect Roofing and Construction has been serving the Oklahoma community since 2017 with trusted professionals and a proven track record. Best Protect Roofing and Construction has the local knowledge to ensure every roofing project is compliant and hassle-free. They offer free roof inspections to assess damage, provide accurate quotes, and recommend the best solution for your home. Call today, 405-473-9599. Best Protect Roofing and Construction.
Finding the right mortgage can be stressful, from knowing which program fits your situation the best to identifying the best terms. Hi, I'm Chris Stoke with Gateway Mortgage. I work closely with you every step of the way, from pre-qualification to helping you choose the home loan that's right for you. My promise is to provide transparency, timely communication, personal service, and closings on time. Call me today at 405-253-2276. That's 405-253-2276.
NMLS 984758, Gateway Mortgage, a division of Gateway First Bank. NMLS 7233, Equal Housing Lender.
If you or a family member will be selling or buying a home and would like to schedule an appointment with Wally, call 405-330-3000 or go to wallysguarantee.com. Now back to the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show with Wally Kerr.
Well, Wally and Cindy, we're out of time on this week's show. Another great show, I might add. I hope our listeners are enjoying the shows as much as I do, especially this week.
It's a privilege to be here, Dave, each and every week to do this with you and for our listeners. And, you know, more than anything, we'd like our listeners, again, to remember we love doing the show. Cindy and I are in real estate, and we would consider it a privilege to help either you or a family member, one of your friends, kids or grandkids, whenever it's time to buy or sell. So give us a call anytime at 330-3000. We're anxious to hear from you. We do take calls on the weekend, and we do hope you enjoy our show.
Well, and this is a good opportunity to throw in there that while you and I have been friends for many years, you have helped buy and sell homes for my family. You actually have helped us in a meaningful way, impactful way, that I could sit here and tell people that I'm not just a talking box over here chatting with you guys every week. You've actually sold our homes for us and helped us buy homes and to continue our dreams of home ownership.
And you let us in the door too, literally, here at the radio station and here at Tyler Media, and we've been able to help others inside the station. It's been a pleasure for us, for you. It's been a privilege, something we've really, really enjoyed. It's great friendship and the people you've referred to us. And we would, again, love to help our listeners. Please call us anytime. We're anxious to hear from you.
Don't forget that you can see every topic we've ever discussed by going to WallyTalksHouses.com. You can see all the different topics categorized on there, and you can listen to the bits and pieces you want. Of course, you can listen to us live on Saturdays at 11, which maybe you're finishing up the show right now. If you're just catching the tail end, join us again tomorrow, Sunday at noon. If you're listening Sunday at noon and you're catching the tail end, once again, we go back to the podcast and we go back to WallyTalksHouses.com, and you can listen to all the great shows there.
If you're Christmas shopping tomorrow on Sunday, stick your headphones in and listen to our shows as you go through and Christmas shop. Dave, you got your Christmas shopping done?
We are very close.
It's time to get it done, isn't it?
Boy, our tree is overflowing with presents. All of a sudden, Amazon delivered.
Well, that's what happens when you have grandkids, and we certainly love ours like everybody else does. Anyway, Dave, it's a great time of year. Happy holidays to you and your family.
Happy holidays to you, too.
You've been listening to the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show with Wally Kerr. Heard every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. and replayed on Sundays at noon here on 1520 a.m. and 95.3 FM KOKC. Wally's name is his promise. Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. To speak with Wally directly about selling your home or buying, call or text him to schedule an appointment at 405-330-3000. 405-330-3000. Or go to wallysguarantee.com. That's wallysguarantee.com.